Hi, Michelle here from Your Productivity Pulse. Several months ago, I had the crazy idea to start my own podcast, and I had an opportunity to attend Kim's free workshop on how to build a podcast, what you need to do, and some different ideas that you could just to get started. Well, after that, it really sparked some ideas for me, so I reached out to her and booked a one-to-one appointment just to have a conversation about whether or not it was going to be the right thing for me to start building a podcast. Well, after that 1 hour, I knew that it wasn't just the right thing, but it was what I needed to do like right then. So we talked it over, and from there, I booked in the next part of her program, which was a 14-day intensive where she was helping me through step by step everything that I needed to do to get my podcast up and running. It was an amazing process, and I can't say enough about everything that she did to help me through, from tech challenges to reviewing content to giving me the encouragement when I needed to. I thank you so much, Kim, and I'm so excited to see what's going to happen next with my podcast and yours. Thanks so much, Kim.
Hello there. You are listening to Podcasting for Your Spiritual Business. I'm Kim Parkinson, and today I have on a very special guest. She is a current client of mine, and she has an amazing podcast. I'm going to let her explain a little bit about that and about a little bit of what she does, but we're going to just kind of dive into how she was able to launch her podcast and was able to bring her podcast to life with the guests and all of the different goodies that she does. So welcome to the show, Aimee. Please tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and anything else you might want to let them know about you.
Thanks, Kim. I have a podcast called The Creative Permission Slip, which I'll tell you more about in a moment. And I do I just call it integrative life and leadership coaching, because that is one of the skills that I have started to own, is that I think I really help people integrate the different parts of themselves and even I feel like we all are full of paradoxes. So kind of like pulling those pieces together. And I found throughout the years that I really love interviewing people. So as I started to do that, I was like, okay, maybe a podcast. And then Kim has helped create the courage in me as well to do more solo episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Super important to do those solo episodes for sure. Maintain that authority, right? Keeping that authority, keeping those people, because otherwise you're just showcasing other people and people don't get to know you, the real who you are. So, yeah.
I think I was hiding behind like only interviewing other people. I really enjoy that. But I had to also recognize that there was a way that it was limiting me as well.
How did you get over that fear of doing the solo? Was that a fear of yours or just discomfort?
I would say it was more of a discomfort. I have done different things, in front of people before, but I told myself, I created this whole story, I think really around what it would be like, just sitting in a room by myself with a microphone. And so I did a lot of practicing and did a lot of episodes that nobody ever heard.
Yeah.
Just to start to feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. It does take a little bit of practice when you are just recording on your own, because you're used to talking to people. You're used to having, as a matter of fact, one person I talked to recently said that one of our traits as humans is when we are on a Zoom call or when we are in person, we have been taught all along to look people in the eye. Yeah. And so I'm looking at you right now in the eye, we're recording this on Zoom, but the camera doesn't reflect that. The camera reflects that I'm looking in a different direction. So it's a different way of recording, whether or not that be interviews or whether or not that be a solo episode. But yeah, those solos can be, you really have to be comfortable talking to yourself, right?
Yeah. And I think just remembering to tune in, because so often we get feedback from another
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's the way this conversation's going. Oh, this is, but instead we have to just rely on ourselves and tune in, you know, and I think it's a great practice. I just think it's often, for me, it was an undeveloped skill.
Yeah, it's interesting. I met with a client earlier today, and she was just riffing off a couple of different episode topic ideas, not because she was thinking of them, just because we were having a conversation. And when she was done talking, I said, "You just gave me two different episodes. You already have two topics right there." And she says, "I just need you to be in the room with me." So very similar to what you said,
Yeah.
that it having that other person right there to kind of say to you, yeah, yeah, or maybe not. Yeah. Yeah. So tell me more about the creative permission slip.
Yeah. I have always, the word create and creativity, like they just are, they've always been a part of my vocabulary. And I didn't know why. I haven't always thought of myself. Well, here's part of why I did the show. A lot of people relate creativity to artistic ability.
Mm.
And to me, I want to get the point across that creativity is like a big umbrella, and our art and artistic endeavors fall under that, but so do so many other things.
True.
And so, in my life, as I started to look back and get curious, like, why do I always use the word create? And why am I so interested in creativity? And what does that mean to me? I started to connect the dots, and I started to see how important it's always been in my life, because it brings this kind of life force to me and through me. And I, through the creative permission slip, I wanted to remind people about that they've all got it. Everyone's got it. You know that you're working with it when you feel that aliveness and that excitement. And the permission part of it is really about, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, just get in there, try something out, allow yourself to connect with that. I think so often as kids, we all can relate. We let ourselves be that creative being. And then something, as we get taller, as we get into and get older, there's something about it that we recognize doesn't seem to be as valued. So we might cut it off a bit. So that's partly how the show came to be. The other part is I have a collaborator. We have always thought about how we might work together, do something together. She is very behind the scenes. She loves to support things that she believes in. She loves to grow communities, but she doesn't want to be out front. And so this is the result of our collaboration. And it's just been a beautiful, beautiful journey of a way that we get to work together, both being in our zones of genius and then seeing what comes of it.
You are a great example. I've had some people to ask me before about sponsorships and about how can you go about getting sponsorships, and when is it possible to start with a sponsorship. And now, prior to you, honestly, I might have said to them, well, maybe, let's look at your downloads. Let's look at, where you are. And in many cases, that's still true, right? If you have a big corporation that you're reaching out to, Under Armour, or, well, our communities, maybe not, but maybe some other type of a company, you might need to showcase all of your downloads and all of that. But you walked into our relationship together or our relationship with this podcast together, or your podcast together, with a sponsor in hand. And so you're like the benchmark. This can be done. this can be done. How did that come about? Like, how did the conversation of, I want to do a podcast. Yes, I would like to be your sponsor. How did that come about?
Yeah. So, this would be a way to encourage people to maybe get creative on how you define sponsorship. Does it have to be from some big company, big entity?
Yeah.
And so this is an example of, we had been in conversation, Julie and I had been in conversation for years of like, yeah, I know someday we're going to do something together, someday, some way. And we both just trusted and we both just, let time pass. And sometimes we'd float ideas and be like, yeah, that I don't think that's quite it, or that's not, maybe the timing's not right. And, we're both also very polite with each other. So,
Sure.
we don't want to push anything on one another, just kind. And so this conversation came about kind of gradually. And as it did, so that's one thing, we gave it some breathing space.
Hmm.
And then we let some ideas start to form. And then, the timing seemed just right too, that we had the conversation to pull the pieces together. She has an art studio, and, I do coaching and I like to interview people. So all of this to say, it could possibly be that you're in conversation with someone that here's a piece. You both mutually admire each other and what each
Mm-hmm.
other does. And we can each have an idea of how we want maybe a certain thing to occur in our communities, or even an idea of legacy, which can have so many different meanings. And so just bringing your skills together and your resources together and what
Yeah.
that means.
I love that because I feel like it was mutual.
Yeah.
It wasn't you reaching out via, emails and letters and like really like trying to sell yourself on
Yeah.
it. It was more of a collaboration where you just were like, it was divine timing. It was just being almost delivered to that fruition of, I'm looking for this, you've got this. I'm looking for that, you've got that. And let's put both of those together and see what we can make together. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not every sponsorship, I call it a sponsorship because that's what we would call it in the podcasting world, right? But we're also considering this is a collaboration. But in this particular realm, sponsorships come from all different areas,
Yeah.
I guess is the point to take out of this is it's not just, I got to reach out to Under Armour or my local metaphysical shop or this. And I do have other clients that actually have a sponsorship with their local metaphysical shop or, with a online app. I've had those before too, but sometimes it's just a easy in if you are working together on one thing. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. That's good for you. That's good.
Thank
Now,
you.
how do you feel in this case with the sponsor? How do you feel, or collaboration, how do you feel that you are mutually bringing forth the podcast together? Are you actively advertising her on there? I know, but maybe the audience would like to know, like, how does that look like in the back end for her and you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I can see that just like how we came together organically, that portion may be organically shifting through time as well. But,
Mhm.
like right now, here's another part that people may consider as well. Collaborating with someone who, things are just going along really great for her in her business in this point in time. And so she wasn't real worried about bringing in a bunch of traffic because she doesn't do anything online. It's a physical space, and we've, it's located in our town. And so in a podcast, maybe there would be draw some local people in, but maybe not. But depending on what people do or how their partnership might look, like that could definitely be a piece of how to draw in. But in our situation, it's really been, she sends people in whose stories she has heard at her studio. And so if they're willing to be interviewed, then I interview them. And that's one of the ways that we kind of reciprocate with each other. And it's an outlet for people in her studio to share their stories if they would like to. And then, as I said, Julie is like so much about letting people shine. So she's always asking me, are you enjoying it? Are you getting out of it what you want? Which is so lovely and so unselfish. But that's where we're at this point in time about how we work together and how we reciprocate. But yeah, it's just a nice thing to continually check in on, just like with any collaboration or relationship, or just to see like, how are you doing? And how is this working?
Now that you have your sponsor, is there any kind of feelings about that bring up?
Yeah. One of the things that has really been a driving force in the podcast is as we are working together, knowing this collaboration with Julie and I, and with you as well, has this certain sense of accountability for me that I really enjoy, as well as an inspired kind of just making sure, keeping that integrity, keeping that. Sometimes when we do something 100% solo, that can be a little tricky to do. But when you come together in this, like I consider this whole thing, a collaboration as well with you too, Kim, there's this, I just want to bring my best. I want to show up in each episode in this certain way because I've got other people that are not only listening, but other people that have decided that they want to work with me on this endeavor. And I feel myself wanting to rise to the occasion.
Uplifted for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
I love that you're feeling supported, and I love that you're feeling uplifted. And as long as you are, like you said, Julie asks you, as long as you are having fun and as long as it's enjoyable to you, then you continue it as long as you'd like. And when it no longer serves that inner part of you, that's when it's time you listen to that intuition part. So
yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Right.
I also love that you bring on real people that don't necessarily have businesses.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have a call to action for you to share with your audience. They are real people in some type of creative sphere, whether that be art or music or just life in some fashion. I love that realness of just almost to the point where you're doing like an old fashioned, I'm on the streets of New York City and we're just talking to this person here, like kind of like that, because they don't always have something for the listener to like move on to. It's a real true story that you're telling, almost a documentary. I love it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it. It just popped in my head that way, but
I hadn't thought of it using that word either, but I like that.
Yeah. So now if you could just tell the audience, if you remember how we met. Do you remember?
Yeah. Gosh, it's been years ago now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was through Facebook, but it was maybe another coaches group.
Yeah.
And then I never used to trust social media. I was like, I don't know. Can you really meet nice people on social media? I don't know. And the fact is, yes, I really have. And so know that I could tell that you were just like someone that I really enjoyed being around. And then as we connected a bit more, it was like we found what we had in common.
Yeah.
And then I think I interviewed you before I ever had a podcast, was when I was doing a little series of like, oh, let me find out what other people are doing online, because I'm not used to this online business thing.
Yeah. I do remember, and I actually think, so we were put together by a unicorn type group. And we were in, I think it was like the Fox and the Hound or something. I don't remember what the whole premise was around it, but I do remember those pieces. And she put us together And I honestly, truly believe she put us together because we were both projectors. I think she had done human design at that time. And I feel like that was the direction because maybe there's not too many of us, but we were
Yeah.
definitely the two of them. And so she put us together and we just really worked. It just really worked for us to do that program together. And I have loved being a part of your life and seeing how your business has unfolded and changed too. Because I think originally you were doing something different, correct?
Yes, yes. It was still in coaching, but honestly, it's taken me a while to get clear. And I think what's taken me a while is just to own what am I good at, like to really own that. And I think that that's just fun to bring up here and now too, is this our own evolutions
Yeah,
and
yeah, because you never
allowing
know.
that to be, yep.
Kind of pulls back to what you mentioned about you and Julie, right?
Yeah,
It was a long, like it that collaboration didn't start immediately.
yeah,
It's a buildup. It's a accumulation of maybe years of trust, years of working together in one fashion or saying hello, meeting, saying
yeah,
whatever it might be. And finally, then it was whatever that catalyst is that just is that flick the switch, let's do it type thing.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah.
So, what was the I'm going to work with Kim switch? Do you have one?
Oh, yeah. As soon as Julie and I started talking about doing this, it just dropped in immediately for me. I know who we could work with. I know who could help bring this together because that was something I was getting more and more clear about too. Like, I'm all about DIY in a lot of kinds of things, but also in my wisdom as I age, it's appreciating other people's zones of genius. And so I just knew that I had thrown enough spaghetti on the wall in various things in my business. And as she and I came together, that's another thing about a really aligned collaboration is that we both had this desire. If we're going to do this, like, let's do it right.
Mm.
You know, yes, we can totally bootstrap some things, but also like that was part of our mutual respect too. If we're going to do this, let's utilize the people that we know could really help us do this. And so immediately your name came to mind for me.
Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. I love that. I really appreciate that and appreciate your business and your friendship
Mhm.
because you're not just a client, you're a friend first. So I love that. I love that
I
about
love that.
all of my clients. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that too. And it's the feeling is real, which just makes everything much more approachable. So
Yeah.
I love the way that you do business.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, if somebody was going to start listening to the Creative Permission Slip, what is the very first episode that comes to your mind that you would have them start on?
Yes, I would suggest episode 28. And it's all about giving yourself permission to, simplify, move forward in a way that is easy and uncluttered and imperfectly perfect.
Love that. Yeah. Yeah. Because it is all about giving yourself that permission and all about giving it creatively, however that
Yeah.
might be. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I love your mission. I love what you have to say. Do you have a another collaboration that you'd like to speak about?
Oh, yes. Yes. Dragonfly School.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. This is a season in my life. I'm just finding like collaborations are so rich for me, helping me move from being maybe too independent to really trusting my intuition on who to work with and then really leaning into each other's strengths. And so Dragonfly School is created with my friend Gemma Liberty. And it's really just a reflection of what we've been doing with one another over the past year, kind of recognizing life as this experience of the cycle that the dragonfly goes through, that is kind of like the butterfly that has this messy middle. And so it's just getting ready to open, and it's a space. It's a space for people to breathe and become and remember and be safe and be accepted and just normalize that is part of our personal growth. It's not always pretty, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That just lights you right up. I can totally tell. So I'm so excited for you. Is there a website that you can send people to?
Yes, it is dragonflyschool.earth.
Ooh, nice. And Earth
Yeah.
Day's coming out soon. So
Yes, it
that'll be
is.
perfect. Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. And your own website, I will definitely put in the link for your show itself, Creative Permission Slip. And Aimee, I don't know that we mentioned your last name, Aimee Carlson. And Aimee is spelt uniquely. So if people are searching for you, you want
Yeah.
to tell them how you spell your name?
Yeah. It's Aimee. And then
Yeah.
Carlson is just the easy one, Carlson. And the name of my business is SheForce. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sheforce.com.net, where are we sending them?
SheForceCoach.com.
There we go. Thank you. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you mentioned it. Perfect. Excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to tell people about a podcasting journey, finding a sponsor, anything like that that you'd like to give them your wisdom on?
Yeah. You know what I would say is in the past, I've rushed into things thinking that was inspiration. And what I learned, especially through this podcast journey with you, is that go slow to go smooth to go fast. Take the time to do the things ahead of time about the intention, about all the steps that you walk people through so that you have a real strong foundation. So in whatever you're doing, if you really want it to last, take the time.
Wise words. Wise words. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, Aimee. I really have appreciated you being on and telling your story, and can't wait for people to now click the little button and hop on over to Creative Permission Slip and start with episode 28 so that they can have that permission to simplify too. So thank you.
Well, thanks for having me on, Kim, and thanks for all that you do for the Creative Permission Slip.
You're very welcome. It is my pleasure, truly. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me today. If you're ready to deepen your visibility and grow your podcast in a way that feels aligned, come join my email list at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter, where I share exclusive guidance, support, and next steps. And if this episode resonated, I'd be so honored if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the most powerful ways to support the show and help other spiritual women discover it. Until next time, keep showing up and sharing your voice.